What's up? What's up, New Era Fantasy Football League? Good to see you guys back. It is coast to coast fantasy football, guys. Getting back at you guys. It's good to be back. Have Raph back, have AC back. We got another good week coming up for you guys. So we're going to jump right into the power rankings. What's going on, fellas? How y'all feeling about this week's power rankings?
Well, wait, Vern. Wait. Let us wet our beak a little bit on getting, back into the
Well, hey, look, man,
let's give a shout out. Let's give a shout out. What shout out is due. Shout out to the PTO crew for holding it down in our absence. That was a great, kind of, guest spot appearance for some folks. So I enjoyed their feelings for sure. So good looks to the PTO crew for that.
Word to that.
That's it, right?
Word to that.
That's it, right?
Nah, I was gonna listen. I'm just throwing it up there. I'm just giving a shout out. Good looks. I think, man, I will say, man, Ricky and Marvin they're funny dudes, man. This is like it's funny watching these guys go at it. It's pure entertainment. So I can sense the love between the brothers there, which is always nice to see, man. But it was good, and then it led itself to a good, some good matchups, some good analysis, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I think I've been out for 2 weeks. So I feel like my chair still, got that new chair smell because I haven't been on it for a while.
Raph, you got the I'm gonna say something a little bit, but Raph, you got the 0 dark 30 haircut going on right there. You got the hoodie, LeBron. Is that like the playoff? Like okay.
You turned all your social media off, Raph?
When he made that Mike Davis trade, he was like, he got the Clippers like, all right, let's do it. Nah, listen, guys, like we said, reunited, and it feels so good. Listen, I missed you, Vern. I missed you, Raph, man. I gotta say, sort of a point of reflection. We've had a great rapport over these weeks, but I'm proud of us for something that Ricky said, man. It seems like just through these ideas that the three of us started off with, and then Raph jumped in with the Red Man, it seemed like we really revitalized the whole league to the point where everybody wants to be involved with this. We did the happy hour that went off great. Shout out to Brett. He couldn't make it, but that was a good time. And then sort of culminating in getting Germ, Marv, and Ricky to do the show last week. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy of that. I was happy and just overjoyed to see Germ lead the way. I mean, he does a great job in his league, but so I kind of felt like asking him to lead it off in this league, it would be seamless. And he doesn't give himself much credit, but he did good. And then Marv and Ricky, they just had a great flow, man. When Marv hollered out Romel, the way Germ broke down the power rankings, I love the spin that he put on it, because for sure this week, I'm definitely a surrender, man. I'm definitely in the surrender box. And I just think he did a great job. So, and Ricky, I think he just made timely observations, came in, and they get very insightful. So I really appreciated that. I don't know if we can live up to that. So at the same time, we always going to put our own spin on it. So with that being said, I just wanted to give him thanks, man. I wanted to get a league thanks. I know for me, as we go through this video today, I want to focus more on the guys who are on their way to the playoffs. So when I give my analysis, I'm going to kind of be more centered on that. I mean, we don't got to waste much time on old AC's team over here. Like, we see what it is. Burn, we see what it is. But I want to shine some more light on the Ravs of the world, the Jeremys of the world, the Mars of the world, in that race for the 4th spot. So that's my agenda for today.
No doubt. So look, with the whole Romel thing, was that like some type of like technical mishap that just timely happened, or did he like purposely do that?
I thought that was on purpose.
You never know, bro.
Yeah, because I was like going back and looking at the video. I'm like, yo, how did this like echo sound? Like, how did that happen? That was pretty dope.
It was kind of, I thought it was nice, a nice blend off of when we got Scott Hansen the shot out Ricky. Like, wake up. Right. Like, no.
There's no accidents in life, man, and anything can happen on live TV.
Word
up.
No doubt,
Word.
man. The PTO guys, man, they did excellent last week, man. Just again, shout out to Germ, shout out to Ricky and Marvin for coming together, making it happen, giving us a little breather, a little vacation, to kind of refresh and get back into it. And look, honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing more guys jump in and take over. So it definitely doesn't have to be us three every single week. We definitely looking for fresh faces and fresh perspectives. So I think they definitely did that. I think it came in with their own spin. It was, entertaining. Ricky and Marvin definitely just, it was just
I'll pay to watch that all day.
Yeah, I would pay. I would definitely pay to watch that all day. And Germ he's great at moderating. So he was able to kind of keep it on track and keep things moving and just let those guys go at it and really make it special. So again, shout out to you guys, man. You guys did excellent. So that puts a lot of pressure back on us. So looking forward to seeing what we come up with.
Let's come
got some ideas for y'all. I ain't gonna say what, but I got some ideas for y'all.
Well, let's get through this. Also, we keep nonpartisan or bipartisan, whatever. We stay out of the political game, but let me just say to y'all, brothers, man, I'm very happy at the results from the other week. So word. I'll just leave it at that. Whatever. I'll just leave it at that.
I would draw an analogy, right? We all been in that situation where we're in that relationship and it's time to go, but the person hasn't moved out yet, and you just looking at the clock, and it's like, what are you still doing here?
Yeah, so, yeah. Again, we got to stay out of that, especially you and me, Raph. But hey, for what it is, I'm a happy guy.
The universe will work itself out. That's what.
So anyway, we digress. Vern, you wanted to touch on the power rankings. Do you want to jump right into that?
Yeah. So like you said, AC, I don't think there's any reason for the league to spend any more time on me. My team is, come on, man, is so far underground. So we could go through the power rankings for the sake of going through it, but I feel like the majority of the time really should be focused on the teams that are in contention or vying to get into contention.
Right. So let's flip it, man. I'm gonna need one of y'all brothers, man, because I don't have a printer here. Print out that picture from TNT where they gone fishing, and we can put every week we can put one of us up on that picture. So if we want to rank the teams, cool. Let's rank the top ones, but the gone fishing crew, sort of piggybacking from Germ.
Right.
I'm going to say
the banana boat crew.
The banana boat crew, man. I'm going to say me, Vern, Brett, and Romel. We going fishing, man. I got the hat on. I got the
you got the fisherman hat.
I got the vest too, brother. I went to Bass Pro Sports. I got the vest.
You got the onesie, the waterproof onesie.
I got all that, brother. I got all that. So we going fishing. So let's just throw them out. Let's throw us out the window. All right. Now, Vern, I'll let you lead it off from there, brother.
Yeah, so look, just kind of, just getting straight to it, man. We're not going to spend too much time talking about the guys at the end of the pile, but if we had to just throw their names out there and just say who's who, what's what, you definitely got me at the number 10 spot. I literally have one win for the entire season. So when look, when you only got one win, Uno win. You got it.
I'm glad I can give you something this year, bro. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Raph. Thank you, Raph, for my only win. I appreciate that, brother, and I appreciate that it came against you.
Listen, man, the gift that keeps on giving, never leave a man down, never leave people behind. So
that's it. So look, it is what it is. So at the number 10 spot, you got my team. I would say at the number 9 spot, to be quite honest with you, I'm gonna put AC there. I just feel like, again, the vest is on, the tackling vest is on. He got the fishing, the Gordon's fisherman hat is on. He in the boat. It's just me and him chilling in the boat, man. Just like, hey, whatever we can catch, we can catch. It's not to say that we not trying to catch somebody. We try to catch you sleeping if we can, but for the most part, man, we just kicking the Willy Bobo. We just talking.
The Gordon's fisherman.
Right.
Listen, guys like us don't become relevant, at least this year, until draft time. So we'll be back.
We'll be back. Right, like Mortimer.
Yeah.
We'll be back. So
the only thing I'm mad about, Vernon, just jump in, is that Marvin and Plunker went ahead of me in the all-time wins, but I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, it's how it goes, bro.
Yeah.
If you stick around long enough, you're gonna be on the ups and downs of any side of fantasy. So we'll see what happens next year. All right. So who else is in the boat with us? It is clearly Bromel. He got his vest on. He got his fishing rod out with us. He ain't going nowhere no time soon. That call to wake up from Marvin, he ain't answer that call. So he's at the number 8 spot. And then
Mel don't use a fishing reel though. He probably got like the Rambo fishing.
He's shooting. He's firing shots into the water, waiting for one to float up.
Right. He ain't using no reel and hook, man. He's using something else. But he out there with us. Now,
of course, along the way in this boat, how could we forget Baskin Robbins? Baskin Robbins, man. I mean, come on. The team is terrible. I mean, at this point, it's no signs of life there, man. So again, we go back to that trade, and whether it worked out for the better or for the good, we can argue about that. But that'll lend itself well into the off season. But he definitely in the fishing boat with us. So yeah, those are the 4. And then outside of that,
can we just say you either live by the king or die by the king? That's basically the tail of his story right there. Like if he was gonna have a shot, it was gonna be on the tail end of King Henry putting up 200 yards a game, which we just know it's not going to be a week in and week out thing. So
yeah, Raph, again, I don't got much to add to this, but it goes back to what I've been saying all year, man. I mean, I don't have the cachet because you look at my record, but again, Brett messed up in the draft, and I'm not even going to say it was drafting Dobbins. He messed up on like the follow-up. Like you got to get those wide receivers in pocket so that you're not making these trades. And there were guys out there. I don't know when you got Metcalf, but he probably could have got Metcalf in the 5th. Like there were just things that he could have done. If you choose a path, you got to have a theme for that path and know what to do along that journey. And Brett just kind of went all over the place, and it shows in his team results. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. No, I agree. As they say, when it comes to drafting, those first round picks, they may not necessarily make your team, but they can definitely break your team. And I think when you go back and you look at that Dobbins pick, it's just like it really set him into like a tailwind, like where he just could not recover. Whether that was based off of just the draft alone, where he wasn't able to pick up extra pieces, or just like just in the composition of his team, it was like he was always missing. He was always 1 to 2 pieces away. And I think there's a array of other mistakes that he could probably look at, with his wide receiver picks. I think that's true really of all of us, can go back and reassess like, man, we probably really underestimated some wide receivers that we shouldn't have. But he definitely he exacerbated that situation with the T.Y. Hilton pick. So,
well, here's the thing, and this is just a quick 10-second observation. If he picked Mark Andrews in the 5th, Dobbins in the 4th. What if in the 5th, and I know Ridley's hurt, what if he picked Ridley? He was available. And what if in the 6th he picked Metcalf? And he had that in conjunction with Dobbins, Patrick, and Derrick Henry. His team's looking a little different.
Way different.
And he's not making trades to get receivers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. So that will really cover the guys that are in the boat. They already in. But there is one guy that even though his record is 4-5, and he actually could be contending if he wanted to, for some reason he is choosing not to. He is trying to get onto the boat, and that is clearly too impossible. He trying to get on. He like, hold up, fellas, I'm a little late.
They roll the steps up. They pull the steps up, and they starting to pull out. Like he like, nah, like he running up to the dock, like wait for me.
Right. Yeah, man. Ricky, I can't explain it. I felt like coming into the season with his draft, and I felt like he was, deep at running back. You had Devontae, you had Tyreek. I just felt like that was a team, and they're Aaron Rodgers. I felt like even though I don't place a high value on QBs, it is what it is. You're going to get your points out of A-Rod. So if he has in a good year, Ricky should be in the contention. There's no reason for me to look at Ricky's team and say he should not be competing. But as it is, it looks like he's like, hey, okay, this ain't the year. So that 2 on the possible is looking real shaky right now. Real shaky.
Yeah, see, Ricky, when you start out a season, at least for me, I try to just get wins at first if I can. If I'm off to a bad slate and I'm starting to evaluate, I'll start looking at the odds, the possibilities or probabilities of me winning these games. I'll try to earmark certain games. He made that trade, but it's curious though, because he just picked up 2 dubs. He has a game against Plunk. If I got to roll the dice, I'm going to roll the dice because then he's playing me the next week, which is like, Burn, you're on mute. Oh, okay. So it's like if you're playing me, so suffice it to say, he could probably go 5-5 this week, pick up another win that's 6-5, roll the dice against Gene and Marv. Like to me, it's worth it to try to figure out what you can do against those guys. Like I think I would have kept fighting the fight until the end. Raph, you can jump in too.
I know Vern's talking. I saw his lips moving, but he's on mute.
That's family business, right?
Oh, no worries. Yeah, so and I'll give you some perspective into that Davis deal. At least from my end, and maybe perhaps from his end. Davis, when McCaffrey was out for an extended period of time, man, he was putting up top, RB1 numbers consistently. Tailed off towards the back end, but he was getting the workload for sure, and the volume wasn't a question. Once CMC started coming back, it really became a question of like, how usable is he going to be? In that first game back, we kind of saw how they used him, probably overused McCaffrey, but, McCaffrey being day-to-day, you don't know what that long-term is going to be. So,
well, I'm sorry, Rap. I'm not talking, and I got to make sure I'm not confusing the leagues. I'm talking about the Antonio Gibson deal. Your deal was
okay.
Yeah. Now,
that was interesting. I felt like, to your point, I would have just rocked it out and just kind of see where the chips fall, because if all, in the playoffs, I feel like that schedule is looking not too bad. If you got to rock with somebody, Gibson could be that dude that just comes out and
it was I'm with you. It was worth a roll of the dice just to see. He ain't gonna get in the top 3 of picks. I think that's already earmarked for me, Vern, and Brett. So it's almost like you might as well just keep fighting the fight with Gene and see what happens.
And interestingly, when you have a trio of Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Chris Carson, on paper, however he decides to fill out your roster, I'm going to bet on that team. I'm not betting that team is not a playoff team. Just, you added Gibson to that, you know what I'm saying? You add Brandon Cooks, who, is coming back to life, after a couple years of just Dumpsterville. So, all those things, like I said, you're probably right. Just swing for the fences.
I would have rolled the dice. I'm not mad at it. I remember, was it you, Brad? I think it was you or somebody. When you played Romel that week, I'll never forget this. You was basically like, all right, that's it. Like week 8 or 9. You was like, all right, I'm going to just start trading off. And I'm like, dude, like it's worth fighting the fight. But I get it, though. I mean, anyway, you want to manage your team is how you manage your team. I just personally would have just kept fighting, because I think he's gonna, this week you roll the dice, next week I think you get a dub off of me just because I don't have talent. And then fight Marvin, fight Ricky, see what happens. It was worth it. I mean, not Ricky, fight Gene, just to see.
Right. So, I agree. I definitely agree. I feel like he had enough depth prior to those trades that he could have slid in there. And here's the thing, man. I've been in these playoffs. Anything can happen. I remember coming into one season and I was like, man, I was laying teams out. I think I went 8-5. And Germ snuck in there with a 7-6 record. And his team just seemed like like it was just an okay team. And then the next thing you know, he won the whole thing. And it's like, I'm scratching my head, like, how did he do it? But any team can get hot at any time, and you just never know when your team is going to flip that switch. And to me, for the talent that he had, that was one of those teams where, okay, they could flip the switch. Okay, again, you never know what happens. But what if McCaffrey is out, again for the playoffs, or Gibson, he's already showing promise, like he's the dude. Then you look at that schedule. Okay, you pairing him up with Carson. You got a tight end, you got 2 stud receivers, you got A-Rod. There's really not anything that says this team can't come into the playoffs and make something happen. Very easily, they could have made something happen and gave teams trouble. And then, of course, his gains make for losses, right? By him gaining Mike Davis, that's a loss for Raph. So even if he was a 1-4, and now Raph doesn't have McCaffrey, he has Mike Davis, it's like, dude, you got an advantage there. So to me, I get it. I understand how these seasons go. You get into them, you just feel like, hey, look, I just don't see it. But this was one of those, to me, where it's like, nah, just hang on just a little bit, man. Just hang on just a little bit and just see how it shake out. But, it is what it is. He made the call. He made the trades. I think that Gibson trade is going to have ramifications not only for this year, but even some future years to come. So that, to me, that Gibson trade, that's one where it's like, okay, Ricky in the past, he's been known to hold little grudges about players that come up after he trade them away. This might be one of them. Just saying, just putting that out there. All right, we're going to keep it moving. All right, so next up, the guys that are not trying to get on the boat.
Bro, you hit the Euro step with that one. You was like... You hit the Euro step,
the Ginobili.
Listen, you get the layup, man. You hit that Euro step. Let's go. Next.
Bro, we're on a 3-on-1 fast break. He ain't passing that ball.
Bro, like, we moving on.
3-1 fast break, nothing. He was like, no.
I know, I was ready to shoot.
All right.
The Euro stuff. All right, brother. Go ahead, Vern.
You put the Westbrook.
Go ahead, Vern. Go ahead, Vern.
Sometimes it is what it is. You gotta go up, let her know how it is. Hey, look. Here's a team that are clearly not.
We're not gonna run the court anymore on the fast breaks.
Nah. Don't jump. I promise you, don't jump. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. All right. So look. All right, so here's the teams that are not trying to get on the boat, right? You got Gene at 4-5, right?
Right.
Now he's really in a tight race with him and Plunkett. To me, this is how I see it. Like that Plunkett Gene race, that's the one to watch for the rest of the year. Everybody else, y'all pretty much in. You 8-1, you 7-2. Come on, fellas, like you in. Congratulations. We looking forward to seeing what y'all going to do. So really the only people that's kind of like, all right, like we really in it, we trying to get in, is Plunkett and Gene. And the great thing about that is they in the same division. So that's the great part.
So how about this then? Why don't we go ahead and give flowers to Raph, Jordan, and Marv right now, and in the interest of time, not really focus on them, but really look at Gene and Are y'all good with that?
All right, I'm good with that. Congratulations, Raph. I'm not gonna do Raph like that. No, seriously. I think that his was interesting, right? Because I think a few weeks back, so I was kind of calling out Raph and talking about how, hey man, this team has really not been like, okay, like his record is 7-1, 8-1, 6-1, whatever he was at the time. But it's like, if you look at these wins, like, come on, man. Like, anybody could have beat these teams. But then it's like role reversal. It's like, all of a sudden, now Marvin's team is scoring 120, 130. And now Raph's team is, man, they're going up. So, I got to give props to Raph. I think he's been rebounding. And like I said, at any point, a team can get hot. And Raph, he has plenty of talent to get hot. And right now, I think he's hot. He's trying to struggle through those injuries. But, man, those dudes is healthy, man. Man, y'all fellas, man, who make the playoffs, y'all got your hands full. I hope y'all can pull it off, but y'all got your hands full. That's all I can say. So salute to
Well,
Raph.
matchups count. And, I'm giving Raph some flowers, but at the same time, like, because I was on the end of that with Cook, I think he's just about played Detroit. Well, I know he's played Green Bay twice. I know he's played Detroit at least once. outside of those teams, like teams come to play, baseline football. Like I just don't see this dude. I mean, what he did was almost historic. I don't see him doing that. Now, having said that, having a tandem of him and McCaffrey is very dangerous. It's just what I've been telling you about Lamar Jackson all year. He's pretty much performed as I thought. But just having those two, like, you just as in line as the next man to win it all. So, flowers.
Word, hold up.
Jeremy is, this is always a discussion. Like, and I sort of rotated my philosophies over the years about trading. I've always tried to do even deals to the best that I can see them. But I know that there was a time in there where I would always try to look for blockbuster trades. And I think as the years have gone on, I've kind of mellowed out. Because I just think that there's something to be said for like, hey, you just try to line up your guys. This is a philosophy thing. There's no right or wrong. But you just try to line up your guys. If you just have a glaring hole, like, look, I need to make a trade. Like, it's like a tight end. This is almost a joke when I'm rolling out there every week and I'm trying to compete. I like that, Vern. I like that.
Hey man,
and
look,
you got the flowers on the other side. You got flowers on both sides.
So might as well, get your bouquet out.
You got flowers on both sides. So it's like with Jeremy, I just look at it like, okay, if you have a glaring hole, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go try to get Waller or something because I have nothing else at tight end. I'm literally rolling out there like guy number 20. I'm not mad at that. And I'm just using tight end as an example, or wide receiver. Like, it's obvious, like, I have a hole here and I got to compete or else I'm dead in the water. I got no problem with that. I don't have a problem with any of this stuff. But I look at what Jerm did. Like, you go get Kyler Murray. You go get, he made another trade, right? What was the other trade?
He made a trade with Romel to get a tight end.
Was it Waller that he got?
No, he got Gronkowski.
Gronk.
Oh, well, I ain't mad at the Gronk thing. And I'm not mad at his team, but it's like you look at his team, right, on paper, and you're like, okay, you got Connor, Kamara, and Miles Sanders when he gets back. It's like, dude, like, you sitting good. Like, it's just something philosophically where it's like, you go get like these top end guys. I mean, these all-star teams. And again, I can't throw any stones because I can't say that I've been removed from that. I remember the one year I traded for Forte, even deal, but I had like Forte, DeMarco, like I had all of the guys I had drafted, but then adding Forte, it was like, dude, like you got like Gale Sayers out there. So yeah. I can't throw any stones at Jeremy. I want to make that clear.
That was
just in later years.
About, Sticks and Twigs battle.
Yeah, Sticks and Twigs trilogy.
And I'm looking at you like, come on, brother, stop.
Yeah, but like I said, I want to make this clear, like I can't go at him or anybody because I've made trades for blockbuster players too. It's just when you sit back and you see it and you're like, all right, the horses are gearing up, Raph, Germ, and Marv, and they already had, like, in my estimation, great teams. It's like when you start adding those like blockbuster pieces to already blockbuster teams, it's just like, gosh, like where is this going? So I don't know. I'm gonna give Germ his flowers minus Kyler Murray, and I'm gonna give it to him with Kyler Murray. I think he did a great job, and he has a great team.
Here's a question for you, AC. Knowing the fellas we have in the league, how much of that is a product of, if I don't go out and get that deal, I got to worry about somebody else making that deal. And it's trying to be the first one out of the gate, I
don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's because not everybody is going to make a trade for a QB, and it's not like Vern is on Front Street saying, hey, come get Kyler Murray from me. So, I don't know. I mean, look, he made a deal to shore up a position on his team. I just think that it was a deal where if he didn't make it, he still wasn't dead in the water. Like, it's not like he was in like the desert at QB. He's going to be all right. Getting Kyler Murray, I think it brings him closer to the level of you and Marv. But it's just one of those things where you're like, really, Germ? Like, Kyler Murray? But I get it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I would say I understand where you're coming from, AC, where it's like, you don't want to see teams basically mutate, as they make their way into the playoffs. But at the same time, I think for the owner who sees that they have a clear hole, it's one thing if you have a competent QB, right? So say if you got like a Matt Ryan, he going to put up his 25, 27 points every week. He's not going to kill you, right? He's not going to shoot your team into.
He ain't gonna Mayfield you.
Right. So that's one thing. But when you got Matthew Stafford and this dude is giving you 14, 15 points, and you can't finesse the waiver wire to get something better, I understand why he would make the move, because it's like, this is a clear hole. It's not like, okay, I'm not the greatest at this position, but I'm solid. So I really don't need to make a move because my other positions are stronger than everyone else. Where I think for Jeremy, it was like, this is a clear deficiency. Like, you get in this playoffs, you're going to get tossed out. If you're going against Marvin or you're going against Raph, you're going to get tossed out because your QB is just deficient. And I don't think that's a place where you can be deficient, because most of these QBs are scoring 27, 30 points. So if you're scoring less than 20 points in any given week, that's not a good thing. So I get it from that standpoint, but I also understand where you're coming from. Like, okay, does it have to be Kyler Murray per se? Like, and that's a reasonable question to ask. Like, okay, does it have to be Kyler Murray? Like, couldn't you get, some run-of-the-mill guy, like, okay, all right, 30, he gonna give me 30 points or 25 points. I'm gonna spend, 8th round pick or whatever and make it do what it do. I can understand that too. But, here's the thing, man. Having been on the outside, not being in the playoffs for a few years, if you're gonna go, try to win. You know what I'm saying? Do it within reason. I ain't saying mutate your team, but try to win. And I think he's trying to win. So it's like, I get it, but I also get where he's coming from.
Yeah, well, hopefully in the draft he'll get it then too.
He will. I promise you he will. Thank you, Jerm. Thank you, buddy.
I mean, look, like I said, I can't. It's a very tough conversation to have because, again, I've done it where I'm like, look, and I felt, okay, I'm making an even deal, whether that trade for Forte was players and picks. So I felt like I was making an even deal. And Forte was, to me, him and DeMarco Murray were the catalyst to me winning that year. So I can't be the pot calling the kettle black, you know what I mean? But at the same time, sort of years since then have passed, and I've sort of modified my stance with these trades, and I'm more conservative. I mean, even as an LM, I try to be as understanding as I can. So I get it. And it was a fair deal all the way across the board. And, I'm just trying to say we're all guilty of this to some level, except for Marvin. I think we're all guilty of it. But I just look at this year, I'm like, Jerm, you already had a really, really, really good team. Like, he really does. When you look at his lineup, like, he has a good team. Keenan Allen has come back to life. The 3 running backs, I mean, I don't know. It's all philosophy at the end of the day. So,
but you still get your flower.
I should have bought you flowers. There you go. You get your flowers, Jerm. Go ahead, boy. You go ahead. FTD Flores is knocking at your door, brother.
All right. So we're going to talk about Marvin, man. The man in the middle.
Marvin is it's always what you start to see in these playoffs every year is a dichotomy of philosophies and approaches. And Marvin is more like he'll make a trade for sure. Like if he feels there's something where he needs to sharpen up like that weakest link or whatever, he'll make a trade. For the most part, again, he relies on study, I don't know, like just basically making calls based on analytics and what he sees and how he processes these games and players. So you get that kind of style. At the end of the day, and see, here's where I start to shift more towards the Jerm Raph end of the spectrum, because it's like, yes, like that is so honorable. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, do you have enough? It's like, all right, everybody driving the Ferrari and you pulling up, and not a Ferrari. And it's like, yeah, you're like, all right, brother, you did it right. Like you worked every day. Like
I got the C class.
Right. So it's like when you up against these gunners, it now listen, me and Vern may or may not have, been in the car together where we were racing somebody back in the day in my little hoopty. And we may have won. But at the same time, it's like that doesn't happen all of the time. Like, so when you're in a race with, say, you and Jerm right now, it's like Marvin, yes, very honorable. but do you have enough like against that? I don't know. Now, again, Marvin is a believer in, look, anything can happen on any given Sunday. And you put in your best lineup, you study, you scout. And I am out of that same train of thought that he has really pioneered. But at the same time, where I start to say, all right, Marvin, I gotta like, is when you start looking at these teams and you just see like there's a lot of artillery out there. Like Vern said, the armory, there's a lot of artillery between you and Germ and, you know, whoever that fourth is going to be. I don't know. So that's how I feel about Marvin. I mean, I'll deliver him the flowers personally, but at the same time, it's like I get worried because Dalvin Cook, man, he ran for man. You know, that's something they started off. I was like, all right, he ain't done nothing yet. Just like 5 carries for 50 yards. It's okay. Man, that game turned into like 3 touchdowns later.
What did they passed like 12 times the entire game, but that's just not gonna happen. Like
I'm like, man. Yeah.
No, so I look at Marv's team, and it's kind of like, you know, it's like a tale of 2 seasons insofar as like when you come out the gate, it's like, oh, you drafted really well. You got you saw some potential in these folks, and they outproduce, which is really the name of the game, right? Outproduce the draft value, right? That's how you build it. And I think more so than anybody else, he epitomized that coming into the season, and it showed through the first half of the season. You know, but I think as things start to shake out for the playoffs, you know, like Justin Herbert, like I'm a Justin Herbert fan. You know, I think he's the Fresh Prince of Bel Air on his team right now because he belong up in that Bel Air mansion.
Right, in real life, because he's out in LA. So.
Right. He's the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, if you ask me. But you know, I think the Kareem Hunt, it's like if you were gonna make a deal, it's like get that top running back if you could, just so that you could compete on paper with like me and Germ and whoever that 4th spot is. Because what I see is, you know, once Chubb comes back, he's splitting touches, and even when he wasn't really lighting it up like people expected him to get in the bulk of the carries. Now that may be just a product of Chubb kind of just adding that balance to that running game and allowed him to shine out the backfield or what have you, but. You know, to me, if you make Kareem Hunt that flex player, and you get that, you can get that running, then he's back. I mean, welcome to your Ferrari. Here's my trade-in. Here's my trade-in to get that Ferrari. You know what I mean?
It's tough, right? I mean, like I said, you got different philosophies. I find myself in the middle. I'm like the moderate of it. But trust me, like me, Vern, and Marv have had years upon months upon hours of conversations about just the philosophy of, look, believe in yourself, believe in the effort you put in. And you see the culmination of that. I mean, the man is 8-1. So I got to give him flowers for real, especially for holding true to that philosophy. And like I said, for when it breaks through and he wins, is that much more satisfying and gratifying. It's just, I'm more of like a worry wart. So I'll be like, man, I don't know what you going to do.
Here's the other. Like the other thing is, you know, when you talk about trying to make these moves and playoff pushes and so have you, like you got to be careful because on the back end, you can't really be going to the dudes who have all the horses who are the 8-1s and 7-2. Be like, hey, let me get your number 1, number 2 running back because we're all in the same race, right? So you don't want to be offensive and be like, hey, let's start this dialogue. You won't get hung up on. And at the back end, for the teams that are not in it, those are probably still cornerstones of their keepers moving forward. So it's like you got to find that. A trade partner where it just makes sense. I think, you know, where Germ succeeded was he found the trade partner in Vern, because Vern's keepers are pretty much set. And he's like, hey, Kyler Murray provides the best value that Vern could got for him. And he, you know, upgraded his quarterback position. So
yeah, don't nobody be knocking on my door. Ain't nobody knocked at my door in a few years. I don't got no armory, man.
You waiting for that prom invite?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here, man. I got the rose, nobody to give it to with trades. That's because I'm always trying to like make a run. So I'm not really thinking like, let me stockpile, you know. But nah, Vern is the man with the master plan when it comes to having like talent. So not me. Yeah. So if we had to rank them, I would do. Go ahead, Raph. What are you gonna say?
No, I was saying so. This, you know, foreshadowing the off season. It looks like you're gonna be a buyer in this off season, given the.
Well, that's the postseason wrap-up show. We can talk about that. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. I have a lot of situations. I have a lot. What was it between Jada Pinkett and the dude?
You got entanglements?
Yeah, I got a lot of entanglements, man. Like, I got to see what's going to happen with Snell. I personally believe that the Steelers are probably going to bring Connor back. So that kind of ends that. Then I had Swift, which we got to see Detroit. Like, come on, Detroit. And you got Zeke. I got to keep Zeke. And then you have like Chris Godwin and Juju. I can competently say, I'm announcing right here, right now, Juju will not be back with my team. Unless Juju go on like a run where he's getting like 6 for like 90 and a touch every week, he will not be back. Now, not to say I would draft him again.
If Juju keeps Juju, that's gonna be a no-no.
Right. So at the end of the day, I will be looking for a third keeper most likely. That's just the way. I mean, Ronald Jones, he tried, man. God bless his little heart, man. But
he fought for that. He fought for that starter spot, man. Because
that was right for you.
Huh?
He tried to make it right for you.
He did. I don't got no quarrels with him. Like, God bless him. It's just Bruce Arians be like, if you don't run the route, even if the interception is on Tom Brady, it's like, all right, well, Ronald Jones, you out. It's like, you can't. Like, come on, bro. So even if Leonard Fournette moved on, huh?
You can't bench the GOAT in that game, right? It got to be somebody else's
fault. Right. I mean, even if Leonard Fournette moved on, I wouldn't trust going into anything that is Ronald Jones' backfield. I have no faith in Tampa Bay. And I love Godwin, but same thing. Like, there's like 5 receivers out there. Brown is on a 1-year deal, but I just don't trust what they're doing in terms of lineup compositions.
That's in a team. That's an entanglement team right there. There's too many things going on. That's too many.
Yes. So I will be looking. I ain't mortgaging my future because, that draft is looking kind of sunny, but I will be looking to make a move if I have to. I mean, that's just reality. So
word to that.
Word. So we had to rank them. I would say I'm putting Raph at the 1 still. And I actually physically have to see Marv. So Marv, I ain't, I saw love, but I'm keeping Raph at 1 personally.
We battle next week, so I mean, if depending on how this week shakes out, I still think that's going to be game of the week next week. We've been building that up.
Of course, and you know what, Raph, you can't do this like, oh, Marvin, like with the pom poms. You got to actually talk smack, so that should be fun next week.
Bring it, Raph.
I got it. I got something cooking.
Yeah, all right, we'll see. We'll see, Raph. You more of like a fan than
a fan of a fan.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the picture of Marvin in that room, Raph? You got
he dies.
Where is but no, so if I had to rank them, I'm putting you in the pole spot. Pending what happens next week. And then gosh, I gotta put Marv at the 2. He's more than earned that. I would even think that he's earned the 1 spot rightfully, but y'all got to play it out in my mind. And then Germ. That's how I see it, 3. I
agree wholeheartedly.
I would actually put Germ in the 2 spot, and I would put Marv in the 3.
Wow.
I'm just listen.
Germ will have to. Has Germ beat Marv?
Try to start sweet talking you next week. I want you to remember that.
Yeah.
That's all. I just want you to remember that.
Germ would have to beat Marvin out of 2 spot. He haven't. I
think after his deal and just seeing how it's. I mean, just looking at like on paper, like I get it. Like he hasn't, you haven't seen that come to fruition, but just on paper, I mean, it's kind of like Germ has it on paper, but Marvin got like the record. He got the track record. He's showing.
Well, it's the same thing with you, Raph. I gotta apply the same logic for all of y'all. Like Germ, and I think they play this week. Germ would have to beat Marvin out of that spot. Like Marvin has more than earned that 2 spot. I would even dare to argue, me personally, because again, I gotta see Marvin that he's earned the number 1 spot. But I gotta stick to my logic, and I need Marvin to do me a favor. So I'm with you, Marv. Yeah, brother. What kind of forever?
Word. But I mean, yeah.
You're gonna be the DJ Jazzy Jeff to his Fresh Prince.
Listen, wholeheartedly. Listen, Marvin and Vern have carried me through times. If I gotta be his DJ, then I'll be the RZA. Marvin can be Method Man. It's all good.
Okay.
And I need him to really do me a favor. So
no, I need
word.
to get by.
So, well, I tell you what, based on the schedule, like it's set up where Marvin, if he beats Germ this week and beats you next week, like I can't say nothing. Like that brother is the regular season champ. That's just how I see it.
Word. These next 2 weeks, man, they're gonna be crucial. So,
and I didn't set that up because I didn't do the schedule. So,
hey, look, as Marvin, the schedule is what it is. I don't want to hear nothing about the schedule. I want to hear nothing. It is what it is. You had plenty of time. You 8-1. Now it's time to put in that work. So it starts with this week, and then your boy down there, he waiting for you.
He's the gauntlet. He gotta go through the gauntlet now. That's all.
Hey, give him his flowers, Vern. Give him his flowers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You go. Your flower right there, brother. I'm just saying. We don't want to hear nothing in the off season. I don't want no hot phone calls. I want to talk about the schedule. We talked about the schedule. It is what it is. Put in that work.
I hear flowers for the dead. I hear flowers for the dead plane. Where's Terror Squad?
So, did we cover? Oh, so right. So let's focus on Gene and Plunker, man.
Yeah,
I think they work for good talk. Plunkett is hot, man. I think Gene, that Chubb thing where Raph, you've been able to prosper, and with your injuries, Gene has told a hard road. He's the brother's 4-5. I didn't expect him to be 4-5. The both of them are really on the cusp because Plunkett is in the 4th spot, right? And Gene is at the window, right?
Yeah.
I think, and they don't play each other. That's another tough thing about the road for Gene. Like he's going to have to prove it. So I feel like unless y'all want to go in a different direction, let's look at their records. I mean, let's look at the matchups for the three of them, or the remaining matchups, but for those two teams.
If you start with Plum, because he's 5-4, and just looking at what he's got going on, it looks like he may take a L, possibly. If things shake out just based on the matchups, right? Because he's playing, without Gurley, without Kelsey, Mahomes is on a bye. Like, I mean, if there's a week he can get got, but he can't really afford to take an L, it would be this week
against Rick.
Yeah, he can't do that. And I'm gonna say that because of this. Right now, he's 5-4. So if he loses to Ricky, guess who he has to play week 13?
Raph.
I would send him to 7-6. I don't know. That's shaky.
Yeah.
That's shaky. That's real shaky. I feel like Plunker's team, that Mahomes trade, man, that really sent him to where he could really contend. And I just feel like, with that Robinson pickup, I mean, to me, that was the greatest pickup of this year. There could be no better pickup. I know Herbert was a great pickup too, but really
but he hasn't made a big of a difference as James Robinson has to his team. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah, no question about it. So to me, he has enough to compete. He just got to be healthy. And really, to be honest with you, that's really the case with Gene's team too. It's all about health. It's not about these guys underperforming or not doing what they're supposed to do. When their teams are healthy, they do what they're supposed to do. So, I mean, to me, if he's healthy, he got a shot. Now, Gene, on the other end, I don't know.
Gene, listen, for personal reasons, and I love Plunk, man. Me and Plunk go back. We go all the way back. But I'm pulling for Gene. So if I gotta put some cases to do on who I want Gene. And I'll tell you why. Well, actually, no.
You sound like a fan, AC. You just warned me against that.
Listen, Gene is my man. Like he's just like really all of y'all brothers in the league, but a good man, good dad. But then what can I say? Plunk is a good dad too. Like he's a great dad. So I gotta find some criteria. This is why. Because Plunk has 3 championships, and I don't want him to get into the playoffs to get to a number 4. So I'd rather see Gene get number 1 than Plunk get number 4. So yeah, that's why. And probably for that reason, it'll backfire on me. Sorry, Gene. I don't want to put the reverse blessing on you, brother, but I'm pulling for you.
Yeah.
The Stone Cold lead hot pipes or whatever, lead locks pipes.
I mean, I can't fake it and pull for plunk in my head, really hoping that the reverse blessing is put on him, and then he actually wins. It gets too confusing. So I'd rather just be straightforward and like I'm pulling for Gene. How about that?
Yeah, that number 4 spot, honestly, it's going to be interesting to see which one can kind of squeak in given the schedule and just how things play out. That may come down right to the wire. So,
if I had to now just really give substance, it's what Vern said. I mean, Gene did good in the draft and getting depth, but it's the same thing that, I'm going through with Zeke or really any of you. Like, what do you do when like you don't have a backup game plan and like your stud just isn't available or is getting it done? So I'm looking at his lineup now. I mean, Leonard Fournette is like, Darrell Henderson, Melvin Gordon, I mean, Justin Jackson, so he's really going off of like, this is just based off of guts and like determination. This ain't about talent for him. Like,
right.
I don't know.
Right. Now scroll down a little bit further and check his IR. And that'll really tell you.
Mixon and Chubb. I mean, there
you go.
Here's the thing. Again, entertainment purposes only, but Gio Bernard, man, like he's a credible backup.
Yes, he is. Go holler at somebody. Make a trade.
Right. Like, it's right. So like, Vern, the question is it worth it to be like, can Gio Bernard give me just enough to get me over that hump? Is it worth giving up that whatever round pick it's going to be to get him to make this run?
Can I answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to go back to that IR and I want you to look at Nick Chubb's name.
Okay.
Is he out?
No.
That means he's available to play, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's one more guy. So all you need is to get that Giovanni production. That's all you need. Like, you got Chubb. Chubb is back. Trust me, I own him in another league, so I've been watching him. He looks good in practice. He's cutting great. Chubb is going to be Chubb. Gene, take him out of your IR and play him.
We can't give advice like that, brother. We can't give advice like that.
He's basically saying don't overthink it. Don't talk yourself out of the obvious decision. That's not really advice. That's just like, like, don't talk yourself out of the obvious choice, out of the obvious decision.
This is
Gene plays Vern this week. Vern talking about scroll down, scroll up.
That number 1 spot.
Scroll up, right? I missed that. Scroll all the way up to the top of the page.
Hey,
Vern, you got the
Vern is like, I'm never gonna let the elevator take it down.
Vern over here like, Gene, I'm gonna give you the whole bouquet of flowers right there. This week.
Pulling it out of the ground. Roots and all.
Feed you, Gene. We got a date this week.
Oh my God, I've had enough of this. Listen, Gene, get your lineup right, brother. Like, for real. Like, I'm not telling you what to do, but these are those things. Like, when you're in a draft, there's a lot of different methods you can go to build up, an area of your team. For running backs, I'm a believer that if you get, all headliners, then you really don't need backups. But if you're like, look, I only got like my guys, you got to make sure you have a plan B. So, I'm not saying to make a trade, but Gio, you got Mixon. Is it worth it for you to reach out about Gio? I mean, that's a question that only you can answer. But I mean, my brother Darrell Henderson in the gang. I mean, Fournette, Tampa Bay has been very annoying this year. I know. So do what you must, my brother. His lineup. Now, see, we looked at Plunk's schedule, but let's look at Gene's schedule. So he's playing you this week, Vern. Dub, basically. And then you figure, I mean, Plunk might get got, which would then make for a very interesting show next week. But you got 100 proof on the slate, Baskin Dobbins on the slate, and 2 Impossible on the slate. Now you got basically 4 teams that really are on the boat. Like, so it's like, Gene, your path can't be paved any better. Exactly. Like, dude, it's almost like just execute. Like, you don't got to think about this. Like Vern said, get the right people in your lineup. you got teams basically begging you to take a dub. So, I mean, you're lucky you ain't playing me. I mean, you probably get a dub anyway, but I'm a believer, like, I'm going to put in the best lineup I can. But, I mean, honestly, it can't be more paved for you to try to make that playoff run over Plunk. And Plunker had, where Gene could foreseeably win 4, Plunk could go 2-2.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So, Gene, get your mind right. Stop playing. So that's how I see it. It's gonna be very interesting.
Man. That's what we like. We understand that you like Gene. Gene is a good dude, but that's what I like to see. Gene, get your act together. Thank you. We love you, brother. Get your act together. I want to see you in those playoffs. Matter of fact, I'm saying it right now. I like Plunker. I think Plunk's a good dude. But I'm saying Gene is going to make the 4 playoff spot.
Listen.
Hey, Vern, you starting a quarterback this week?
I am. I am. Don't worry, Raph. I am. The waivers is a wonderful place. It has plenty of quarterbacks. The one thing it's not short on is quarterbacks.
You know, Vern, you're pretty much locked into the number 1 spot. I don't even think if you tried, you could win.
No, there's nothing I could try. I've exhausted all options.
Bro, your team is ludicrous. Number 1 spot. That's what's happened to you this season is ludicrous. I will admit to you. Just no ifs, ands, or buts, man. I'm not. This is a you got a mulligan this season, bro.
Yeah,
it's like almost biblical, Raph.
I can't even joke on you from it. I mean, it's just not like it's almost like you never had a chance, bro.
it's bad luck. Bad luck. Yeah. I mean, my team, I don't think I'm going to win another game either, and I'm like really trying, but I just don't see it. I just don't have. I have no. I'm like Whitney Houston. I have nothing. Like I have nothing.
Has this been your most depleted team? I think it's since I've been in the league. I've never seen you this bare.
Probably. I mean, yeah, just a lot of unfortunate circumstances, but most likely, I think I've had a 3-10 before. Maybe 1. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I think the worst I've ever done is like 4 wins. So this will be a new. I just don't see how I can put together a credible lineup, man. Like I said, the Ronald Jones thing, the Zeke thing, like it's Swift. Like even sometimes you say, okay, end of the year, these teams are out of it, so they'll just let Swift run wild. I don't even think Patricia will do that. I think they just determined to like let Adrian Peterson showcase himself for some reason, unbeknownst to all of us.
Interesting. So, I think once we do our final kind of like our last wrap up of the season, when we get to reflect, I think when we look back at the draft. That end of the 4th and that entire 5th round is going to be telling on how this season went for a lot of teams.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, like I'm sitting Chris Godwin, but it's like, yeah, I don't want to, but the man had a broken like finger and he's playing with Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Gronkowski. I mean, all these people, it's like, well, what can these guys really
threw up? So,
Right. So I'm just at the point now where it's like, look, I really don't have much to offer. Like I hate losing these games because I want to keep in track with the all-time wins pursuit, but I don't see it. And that's just being honest. Like I just don't see it. So
where do you keep track of those stats? Just you do them personally, or is it like does ESPN allow for kind of like a stack tracker or anything like that?
No, I mean, honestly, and it's unfair to you guys because you can't, unless me, Vern, and me, Marvin, Plunk just take a nosedive, you guys can't catch up because you guys came in later. Mm-hmm. So typically I'll focus on what Plunk's record is and what Marvin's record is, and I'll just add them up. ESPN, there's a history. You can look at all of the previous seasons. So I just keep track of that. So Marvin, I think he's comfortably back in the lead. And then Plunkert and then me. Like I said, so I don't want these losses, but it is what it is. I hate it. I hate L's, but whatever.
All right.
The games of the week. Well, not games of the week, but again, if there's any game that I'm involved in and Vern or whatever, and it's not versus a playoff, one of the top 5 teams,
So let's do it like this, okay?
That game of the week should be the game that we talk about, bro. I feel like that game of the week, as that's gonna have implications just for discussion, bragging rights, ultimately what your records wind up being, potentially what seed you're gonna be in the playoffs, like all that. So, I mean,
I think we go ahead, Vern. I mean, I think we still gotta say something, at least a sentence about the others, but I'm with you. Go ahead, Vern.
Yeah, I think we can get right to it. We can get right to the business. All right, we got me and Gene. Okay, let's just skip it. Let's just skip it. All right, we don't need to really talk about it. This the card right here. Skip. Gene, do what you need to do. All right.
You could have used those cards for the presidential debates. Like they are effective. Like seeing the skip cards, I'm not even going to talk. Like, go ahead.
Word. All right. So look. All right. So next we got. Let's see. Oh my God. What in the world? We got Earn and we got Basket Dobbins. Both teams are going in reverse, so it don't matter.
Yeah,
it don't matter. Like let's not waste our time. Both of these teams are going in reverse. It's nothing to talk about. Who cares who wins? Okay. All right. So
I will say, if I may, I care because philosophically I don't want to lose, but Brett does have only 2 wins.
It's true. What do you care about more? Is really the question.
I mean, I got a lineup in there, brother.
Entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna force you to answer that. I'm just throw that out there.
I care.
No doubt.
About something. I care.
No doubt. So look, all right. So then that lends us to Plunkett and to an impossible, right? Now we say that we got 4 people on the boat. So come on, man. Where you at with it? This the determining card. Where you going at next? I think you coming on the boat with us. But depending on this win or loss, depending on what you choose, will tell us where you're gonna be at. I think you're gonna throw this down and you on your way on the boat. So this the card I'm gonna give you.
But who though? Plunk?
No.
Ricky. Okay.
There's not. You gonna be on that boat like Forrest Gump?
Yeah, like this ain't gonna hurt nobody, right? This ain't this ain't gonna make you pick up no cards. It's not. You're not getting in the way of nobody. You just trying to ease your way on out.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you doing. You just boom. Let me get on out of here. So that's it. All right. So
listen, we did the 4 of us like already on the boat. We did a little excursion, but just tell Ricky. We're going to be pulling back in that dock in about 30 minutes.
That's it. Just get a couple lemonade. That's it. We be right there.
The buffet. Listen, the buffet at the resort is open. Come join us for a meal.
Right. So that takes us into the Riddler versus 100 Proof. Right? This isn't like, extinction level event, but this is one of those games where it's like, okay.
Hit him with the draw too.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Go ahead and hey, look, man, he about to dub up on you. He all right?
Listen, I don't take anybody for granted. Listen, but
look. Romel, he already got +1. After this week, it'll be +2.
Yo, Mel, like basically he bought that belt with his Macy's credit card, but they sent that bill and don't look like Romel had the money for that bill.
Collections is on the line. They want their payment.
Yeah, look like you're gonna be making a return. I hope you got them tags. Because Raph about to do you something dirty. Who does Cook play this week? Minnesota, who they play?
Cook plays Chicago.
They're at Chicago.
That's going to be a tougher game, but I mean, I don't think they're going to shut him all the way down.
Yeah. I think to me, that matchup, it really comes down to Metcalf and Josh Allen. Josh Allen versus Arizona, I think it's going to be a lot of points. There's going to be a lot of points in that game. And Metcalf, man, he just been doing it. I mean, this dude, man, the way he playing.
You want to know who my keeper go? Who know who my third keeper gonna be at this rate? It ain't gonna be Lamar Jackson. I'll tell you right now.
Hey, man.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'll tell you right now.
So to me, that's gonna be a good matchup. I think. Look,
he's my 2 in the possible.
Word. Word. So anything y'all want to put on that? Because that is a significant game. All right. So look, that is a significant game. So anything y'all want to put on that?
I'm sorry, Vern. I think that the Plunker Ricky game is more significant in this game. I just think that Raph is just going to dispatch a Romel.
And I don't think the
that's basically it, though. Like, see, when you're on the boat, man, we telling stories, we eating good, we chilling. I don't even think Romel going to care like what happens tomorrow. I think Raph, on the other hand, is basically going to bring his Pirates and his Raiders into town and basically take all what Romel has left to give.
Yeah, and there's no implications from Romel, right? He's not spying for that top overall pick. He's not there's no implications. And even if I were to take an L, right, in any given Sunday, I mean, I still think I'm making the playoffs. I still think not much changes in terms of the projection of my team. So.
Yeah, I just don't see wrong. But listen, we're on the boat for a reason, and this reason will be on display again tomorrow, just like me, just like Vern, just like the rest of us. So, Romel, he good, man, he good.
The ticket's already stamped.
Yeah, Romel, he good. Trust me, like wartime Romel is a lot different than relaxation Romel. Like we playing cards, we chilling. Like
y'all on the resort chilling.
Yeah, don't even worry, we laughing. It's all good. Like
it's all good. It's all good. So what we saying? So we're going to dive into Plunkers. I don't think there's really much to dive into. What Plunker?
No, you said it. I just think I don't know if Plunker is going to fix his line. I don't know where he's going with his lineup. I haven't looked at his lineup. Yeah. But I'm looking at the projection, and
I mean he's in trouble.
Yeah. So it just begs the question now: does Ricky? Even after those trades, does Ricky at least superficially hop back into maybe a three-way race? At least for 1 week. I mean, Ricky's like the independent runner. Like you got
the Green Party.
Like
that's what somebody else's race off, but he ain't going nowhere.
But he's gonna siphon some points. He's gonna make it. That's where Ricky is. So it's interesting if he wins. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, I think he got a strong chance of winning, just because Plunk has so many buys this week. Mm-hmm. But I think ultimately it won't make a difference. So it's like, okay, for this week's purposes, yes, this game has some interest, right? It's not a skip, it's not a reverse, but it's not going to change the complexion of the playoff race. I don't think it does that. So I
think between Gene and Plunkett it does, because neither one of them can afford a loss.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So that leaves Marv and Germ. Who won their first matchup? Did Marv win? Marvin won the first time, right?
He won.
He won. And this is for the title. I mean, this is for a division, at least a tie, at least for a division. This is a big game.
And that's why I saved that for last. This one right here, this game right here, I think is going, because of the combination, right? If Marvin doesn't win this game, then he has to play Raph next week. That's going to change a lot of things for Marvin. So this is a draw for to me. This is a game changer. So to me, I look at this game, man, Marvin, he got some wolves. He got some wolves to get off of him, because
what?
Jeremy loaded. He looked loaded this week.
The ironic implication of this game, right? If it plays out in that exact scenario is, Marvin, if it just takes a turn, he could sneak into the playoffs in the number 4 spot, playing me in the first round, and his players turning it on, and then whatever happens. So I mean, it's almost like the implications I think are huge, but it's because there's a lot of unknowns. So that'll be interesting, because I wouldn't expect to meet. If all things considered, right now he'd be the number 2 seed, so we wouldn't necessarily meet until the championship if we got that far, obviously.
I mean,
not necessarily the case.
There's a lot of scenarios with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what if Marvin loses this week, but then he beats you next week and Germ wins? That will put Jeremy in the number 1 spot.
Yep.
So to me, that's why I'm like, this right here, this little, fantasy love triangle.
Then it will come down to points between me and Marvin. It'll come down to points. And then man. Listen, there's It's a lot of
if we didn't burn our sort of takeover week, I would say the three of you, Raph, Marv, and Germ, should do the show next week. Because I think y'all would do, a very good analysis, but I think there would also be little hints in the air of like, there's a lot at stake. Like, look to your left, look to your right.
One of you will not be in the number one spot.
Right.
We call that the college day one. Look to your left, look to your right. One of y'all ain't gonna be here at graduation.
Mm-hmm. And y'all be sitting there laughing and having a good time. I know if it was me, I'd be sitting there like, yeah, these guys, like, like, yeah. Like, yeah, I give you the number one spot. I'd be like, in my head, I'll be like,
Joke's on you, but I'm glued to the chair, bro.
Yeah. It'd be a very interesting show next week. Just saying.
Just put that out in the universe.
Yeah.
Contact my agent.
So yeah, I think between that matchup, we got to play it as if we don't know that AJ Brown only scored 3 points on Thursday. So I'm gonna just try to be as honest as I can. I mean, I just look at Jeremy's team this week; it's just very loaded. I mean, again, you got the quarterback who runs, and you have 3 running backs. Like, that's pretty much your prototypical layout for success. I mean, and so if Jeremy's receivers can give him something, then it could be a long day for Marvin. Now, again, Marvin, looking at his matchups, I like what he's doing on paper. It's just, you can have all the will and ability and brain power in the world, which Marvin does. It's just sometimes you're just going up against a brick wall, man. And that could be the case this week. I don't know.
And Kamara at home against San Francisco. I think he's going to have a feast.
Well, then Connor versus Cincinnati.
That's
what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Connor at Cincinnati. I already gave y'all my opinion about Arizona versus Buffalo. I think Kyler Murray is going to go off there. And you got Keenan Allen in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, he about to, man, yeah. Marvin, I hope you got some points in your back pocket.
He's going to drop 30 and then walk over to Cocobongos for like some South Beach.
And you know what? Honestly, I would give Jeremy a real flower this time. Like, whatever foresight that he had about Keenan Allen, I don't know if it was as Herbert was starting to take over the role, or Jeremy's like, look, I just need a guy. But the way Keenan Allen has come on, making a timely trade for him, I mean, that was a great move. Like, I mean, another trade Ricky made, but that was a great move to get him on your team, because he has now, Keenan Allen, I think, elevated himself back into a real discussion of, is this guy a keeper or at least a 4th, 5th round pick or whatever? Like, he's relevant again. So That was a good move, Jerm, for reals. I gotta respect that. It wasn't an obvious thing at back then. He made the move, and Keenan Allen has worked out. So I'm giving him props for that.
No, I feel the same way. I thought that was a great move, and that was another move that he needed, because he just didn't have nothing at wide receiver that was really working out for him. So to me, to make that move with the foresight that, hey, this Justin Herbert guy, he's going to throw that rock. And Keenan Allen's going to be pretty much the only guy in town to do it. Now, of course, some other guys have kind of picked up on the Chargers as well, but really Keenan Allen is that guy. He's the guy that Herbert is targeting. So, that's a great move. I think this is a season-saving move. That's what I think this was. I think that was a season-saving move.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, is that it? Did we cover?
We
did right by them, right?
That's all of them.
Okay.
That's everybody.
So, any thoughts? Anything, guys?
Hey man, look. The way I see it is I thought that was a great idea for next week. I don't know if it will or will not happen, but having those 3 talk it out in the non-subliminals that could happen on video with that would be awesome. To me, I think the 4th guy, if Gene gets in, if what I believe is true, if Gene gets in, I think it will be a matter of who is the healthiest and who gets hot at the right time. But if Gene does not get in, I think the guys we just discussed, those are the ones that are going to be in the mix. And honestly, it throw it against the wall and see what sticks. It could be either one between Germ, Marvin, and Raph. So, man, I mean, I'll put it like this. One of the things I would say about this season that's been different than probably a season I've seen probably in like 5 or 6 years. We never seen two teams at 8-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go back into the history books to see two teams at 8-1. I don't think that's ever happened before. And then to have another team at 7-2. I mean, legitimately, these teams could, easily all three of them could go 10-3 in new era. And we consider ourselves to be a premier league. So, for these guys to go 8-1 this deep into the season, man, you just, again, you got to give them the flowers because it's hard to do. These wins are they're not easy to get. So,
yeah, I gotta agree, Vern. I also think, sort of at the other end of the spectrum, like you look at a team like yours that we had counted to do great things, injuries. So, it's more like injuries in unfortunate situations, I guess, for different players. So, this was one of those seasons where if you were able to walk a path of having depth and having players who stayed, knock on wood, generally healthy, I think that gave you an advantage, even more so than trades and things of that nature. Like if you had your running back set up, if you had, like in Marvin's situation, great people in great situations that he did his own scouting for. If you, like even Germ, again, the three running backs, if you have Raph, like where you have dynamic players, there's a lot to be said for those top teams. And then you look at, the other end of the spectrum where I don't think the teams on the other side can really hold their head down either, because just things happen that were just unfortunate given, the pandemic, health, things like that. So.
Word.
And in COVID, and in this COVID season, nonetheless, I mean, all those things, add that as an extra variable with no preseason, that affects, how people came into the season trying to bank on certain players and not really accounting for the effect of not having a preseason would be, maybe some of those decisions that we talk about at the draft that were made might have been mitigated with the preseason.
Yeah. So, but again, I think there's something to be said. Again, you look at the top teams, something to be said for having a plan, a well thought out plan, sticking to it. And, again, this was that season where if you have a plan, you're going to be all right. If you land on a situation where, it's just shady, it's like, look, you're not going to be all right. So I think the guys that are rightfully in at the top spots are getting rewarded, rightfully so. I think the guys at the bottom, sort of save for Vern, hey, it's the byproduct of sort of what we did at the draft. So you're right, Raph, all of us. So Metcalf was a great pick in the 6th round. He was out there. So, Kyler Murray, he was out there. So, the keys were out there for everybody. Just some people just had a plan or had a belief, scouted, and, you got rewarded. Ronald Jones is not a guy where you get rewarded.
He's rewarded, though. Don't worry. He's rewarded, but not with what you want.
Right. Like, and I didn't have a plan, like, beyond that. And that's just the reality. So I got to look at myself. Like, I wanted Dobbins, felt that Ronald Jones, I guess, would just be, all right, well, he's a back, he'll get carries, but not really a fully scouted, like, what if, who would you then take? Would you take a Ridley, especially coming in with 2 wide receivers? Would you take a Ridley? Would you, so I didn't, so we all got to look at ourselves in the mirror, either for the good or the bad. Right. Vern is just a series, like I said, of unfortunate circumstances. I don't think you have anything to hold your head down
about. The Lemony Snicket syndrome. Series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
And no one could be happier than good old Raph.
You know what's funny? Listen, in the competitive standpoint, I can't, like I said, I told you this already, but I can't, this isn't a reflection of where I think anybody thought you'd be. Yeah. Although I did say, and I'm not one for prop bets, I did say if there was somebody like on the outside chance of getting that number 1 spot, I was like, it was going to be you. I did say that. Cue the tape. I mean, it's looking more and more like that's the case. And listen, it's like when Golden State winds up with a top 2 pick after being loaded because they had that's what this feels like. Like you're gonna walk away with like that top pick, but you still got all your keepers. It's like you're not really deserving of that pick, but you know what? The chips fall where they made. The draft will be what it is, and you'll be back.
Yeah.
You're the Golden State Warriors of the season.
I don't even know how I should feel about that, but I think that's a compliment, so I'll take it.
I mean,
no, it's true, Vern. It's true. Like when you have Barkley, you have Thomas, and I guess obviously here's a question: who's gonna be your third keeper? We've discussed Taylor, but you have a really good team, or at least once
I mean, you could have kept Murray.
About your keepers,
quite frankly, but
yeah. So it's just one of those things. Like another top pick is scary. Every year, you're like if we had the champion preseason, like you would be the champ. Like every year.
Yeah, the Summer League champ. It's the Summer League champion.
Yeah. But, today's show has been brought to you by Uno.
Right.
Giving families fun for the last 80 years.
That's right. That's right.
Hasbro, thank you very much.
You cannot put draw 2s on draw 4s. Play fair, play competitively, and have a few drinks while you do it.
Listen,
as always, play responsibly.
Listen, my girl's doing a little Ava, like she plays in a way, and with little kids, you just like, all right, whatever, we're gonna play your way. But she has this thing where you keep picking until you get the color of the card, and I'm like, well, you've been picking for a while.
That's a hood version, bro.
Yeah, listen, to me, I'm like, look, I pick one time. If it don't match, well, it's your turn then. Like, because we could just be picking. I could have like 18 cards in my hand. Like, come on.
That goes along with the stacks. So if you can pick up as money, you got a couple. Bam, drop it down. But whatever.
I don't know. I'm good on that version. I play it because that's how she want to do it. But I'm good. That's too much.
Right.
That's like they got this show called Dose and like all these other Uno variations now. They got. I mean.
Yeah.
There's a market for everyone.
Word up. So that's it. So we gotta wrap this up, guys. Good luck to everybody. The people on the boat. We got life jackets. We got life preservers, man. We got good pilot. We got a good captain. We got everything you need on the boat, man. Come on the boat. To the people making the run, make the run. Gene, you heard what we said, brother. Get your mind right. And I guess that's it. Plunk, I mean, all jokes aside, I'm not rooting for you. But I still wish you well. And then you got Marv, you got Germ, and you got Raph. Like, keep doing what y'all doing, man. Success.
Word to that. All right, y'all. This has been Coast to Coast, the Fantasy Guys, and we will see y'all next week. All right, stay healthy.